What's up, guys? Jeremy from RC Militia here, and I am coming at you today with a review of the brushed E-Revo. People have been asking me to do videos on this one. I also asked people in my last video if they wanted me to do a review on this, and a lot of people responded yes, so we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to kind of give you my opinions. I'm not going to go over all the specs and all the details of it because, I mean, it's an older car. There's so much information out there, but I'll give you my opinion on what I think about it, and we will also kind of go over the differences because people ask a lot of the times this or the Summit, and I can see how you could ask that because they're pretty damn similar cars. But let's get into the review. I haven't driven mine a lot because, really frankly, I don't have a lot of fun with it because it's not very fast, because I did buy the brushed edition. It was the only one I could afford at the time, and yeah, it's just, I don't know, it probably goes about 30-35 miles per hour, somewhere around in there. But and also with this edition, I'm not sure with the newer ones, but I know the Summit, the newer Summit, comes with ESC with a low voltage cutoff on it, and I'm not sure if this one does. I think the only thing they changed on this one, on the newer releases of the E-Revo, is you get a different remote. You get the TQI remote, and then you can get the compatible docking base for your iPhone or iPod or whatever. But as far as it not being fast, it's a whole lot of fun to drive, even though it's not fast. It handles great. It doesn't hardly ever flip over whatsoever at all. And the laydown shocks are great. I mean, you don't get a lot of debris hitting your shocks and stuff because the shocks are, well, they lay down flat instead of, you know, coming down to the wheels like normal cars do. It also, and the newer one also comes with these crappy, well, they're in the, I think I got the batteries in the Summit sitting over there, the NIMH batteries, the 7 cells, and they don't last long. They don't give you a lot of runtime. They don't pack a lot of power. Your car's fast right off the start, but after that it gets kind of pretty weak pretty quick. So that's another downfall, is not being able to have the low voltage cutoff in here and putting lipos in here. But there's a way around that. You can always put low voltage detectors on your batteries themselves, so that's a way around that. I'm going to convert this one to brushless because, like I said, I just don't drive it enough. It's just not as much fun. Sorry for my dogs barking upstairs. And I do believe Castle is coming out with some 8-scale electronics that are waterproof, so I'm going to probably do brushless with that, or brushless in this. Either that, or like I said, get the new ESC with the low voltage cutoff and just run lipos with the brushed motors. But I don't see the brushed motors lasting too long while I'm running lipos, because I pretty much run full throttle all the time. And I don't think the motors will last very long. Brushed motors themselves don't last a super long time, not compared to brushless ones. But like I said, this comes with a 2.4 gig radio and stuff like that. And the only thing we've ever broken on this one, and I'm pretty sure the only reason we've ever only broke one part on this, is because it's not brushless. I think if it was brushless, we'd be breaking a lot more parts. When Jamera and I took it out to her house, I snapped one of the wheels off. The wheel itself actually broke. It tore away from the hub and the hex nut, and that's the only problem we've had with it so far. The motors that are in it are the Titan 550s. It has dual steering servos. Let's see, what else could I go over with you guys about it? Like I said, it takes 2 batteries. Battery trays open on the sides, and most of you guys probably already know this. God, my dogs are loud as hell. Must be somebody outside. But and that's another negative about this, is the battery trays are so small that God, freaking dogs. The battery trays are so small that it's hard to find batteries that fit in here good, like especially if you're using brands like Genzace and Turnigy, and you don't want to spend the money for like a Max Amps or a Thunder Power or the Traxxas batteries, which are way overpriced to begin with. And Genzace gives you the same amount of performance. Skylipo maybe not so much, but Genzace does. And Max Amps batteries are alright. I would run them if I could afford them, maybe, and just to test them against the Genzace. I've had Max Amps batteries before and didn't really notice much of a difference, actually, especially with my the 2 slashes I had. Well, I'm not going to get into batteries. Screw that. Anyway, the batteries, it's a pain in the butt to get batteries for this thing because a lot of times they don't fit in these battery trays. So with that, that's kind of my opinions on the E-Revo. For a first-time person, if you're looking to buy an E-Revo and you don't want to spend the money for the brushless, for the first-time RCer, this thing is great because it's not super fast and it comes, you know, completely ready to run. It handles great. You're not going to be flipping over a lot, so you're not going to be breaking that much stuff on the brush version because, well, like I said, it doesn't go as fast. So it's great for a beginner RC. I mean, it's an expensive beginner RC, but you know, that's something to consider. So I'm gonna grab the Summit now and kind of tell you guys what the differences are between the two. Okay, so there's the Summit and here's the radio to the Summit. You can see it is different. It's for locking your diffs and high and low speed transmission. So of course the body is different. Let's point out the obvious, Jeremy. Tires, whole hell of a lot bigger. I think the Summit is quite a bit heavier. Summit's heavier, a few, maybe 2-3 pounds heavier, maybe. And the Summit has locking differentials. And it also has a high and low speed transmission, which is really nice. I was just looking at something to see if the ESC was exactly the same. I may have a low voltage cutoff ESC in this one, I'm not sure. But anyway, this one has a Titan 775 motor, only has one motor. It has, of course, dual steering servos, but it has all these little servos to control your locking diffs and your transmission and stuff. And people say those go out a lot. I've never had mine go out at all, but I'm not going to do a review of this. I'm just kind of giving you guys the differences. The Summit has lights on the front, and I think, yeah, just lights on the front and the back. Same suspension setup, same everything else, same battery trays, same linkages, same A-arms. Everything's pretty much the same except for the locking diffs, the tires, and the transmission, and it only has one motor. Now, people ask me which I prefer. As brushed, I prefer the Summit much more. Like if I was to keep these two brushed and nothing else, I would take the Summit out any day over the E-Revo. The Summit's about 5 to I'd say maybe 8 miles per hour slower, but it can do a lot more stuff. And it being waterproofed, and this being waterproofed, this one's going to be a lot better in the snow and stuff like that and deep mud than this one is. So, you know, if you want something because it's waterproof and you want to go in the snow and stuff like that and you're considering these two, I'd definitely go with the Summit. I drive the Summit a lot more. I have a lot more fun with the Summit. This thing can do, I don't know, I guess you could call it rock crawling, but it's not really a rock crawler. But like, you know, it's a great car. I love the Summit, and if somebody said, you know, you have to sell one of the two, I would sell the E-Revo over the Summit any day. But that's just my personal preference and how I like to drive and what I bought the two for. I actually got the E-Revo for a Christmas present, and you know, great Christmas present. But if I was to buy it myself, I would have bought the brushless version. Now, if these were both brushless, I'd still choose the Summit. I just like the Summit a lot more than the E-Revo. You got more ground clearance, like quite a bit more ground clearance, and I don't know. It's just more fun to drive, I think. But they're both great, and they both serve their own purpose. I mean, if I was just gonna do straight up bashing, no snow, you know, no mud and stuff like that, then I'd go with the E-Revo. But so that's just my 2 cents on the E-Revo and kind of comparing it to the Summit. Also, people ask me, you know, do you prefer the E-Revo over the Savage Flux? I prefer the E-Revo. I'd still take the E-Revo over the Savage Flux, even if the E-Revo wasn't the brushless edition. And like I said, if, like, you know, I have the brush edition, I would still take the brushed E-Revo edition over an HPI Savage Flux any day of the week, because the Savage Flux, you spend most of your damn time on the lid. That thing flips over like crazy. It's just, I don't know. I'm not a fan of the Savages. They're a pain in the ass to work on. The E-Revo is a lot easier to work on and stuff. So that's my 2 cents on that, guys. With that, I will bid you adieu. So Jeremy from RC Militia saying peace, take care, God bless. Later, guys.